Good evening, viewers. Welcome back to another edition of Perspective. Today I am very much honored to be with BASIROU NJIE, the president of BNT. I'm in his house today to discuss important matters as far as the nation is concerned. All these days we have been discussing about the system in Pinchami West Coast Radio 95.3, and our live streaming also. We talked about the Africa Liberation Day and the economy and so many things that he is currently making so much research about. Recently his movement also did a press conference regarding NAWEC, so he's doing so many activities pertaining to changing the system. Mr. Njie, you're welcome to Perspective.
Thank you, Serif. I think today we are so much delighted to receive you because we are here, as you said, you pay a visit, and as well to give us the opportunity to speak our minds, and not any words, but words that are guided by research, which is very important as a researcher and as a scholar. We believe whatever that we are doing, it must be guided by knowledge. Knowledge, when we say knowledge, we mean to first of all understand the principles guiding politics in the Gambia, the principles guiding development in the Gambia. And now that we have a glimpse of knowledge about some of this, it's important to give us the platforms to communicate. So we thank you very much for your humility in ensuring that not only BNT, not only BASIROU, but I'm pretty sure any other Gambian that is have things to discuss with the Gambians or share with the Gambians, if they reach out to Serif is humble enough to give them the platforms to voice out. And that is something that we believe. Just like the other day I had somebody saying, you critics a lot things, how about you start to do things? I said Serif is doing a lot. To me, you're one of those youths that definitely doing a lot of things, because you are recently, and you know, even before now, becoming the eye and the ears of Gambians. And these are the two organs that give protection to the body, and these are the two organs that give information to the body. And that is exactly what, because if people know, they become they're protected. Knowledge is what gives you protection. In fact, Sayyidina Ali, there was a time they asked him to compare knowledge and wealth, and he compared it using very words of wisdom. He said wealth is very important, and nobody is saying it's not important. Just like when we argue system and individualism, we are not saying individualism is not important. That is not what we are saying. But we are just saying that if the system is so well structured, good enough, then it makes it very possible for the individual to achieve his goals. And that makes it easy. Just like when America voted Trump, even prior to Trump being in president, he promised that I'm going to build the wall between the America and Mexico. So before he becomes power, the system have already arranged that fund ready to construct the wall. That is what system is. It makes it easy even for you to come and, you know, implement your plans. You know, it makes it easy. But if there was no that system so quick enough to gather the funds and say, here it is, it was going to be a problem for him to implement that wall.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's what system is about. So Sayyidina Ali say, knowledge is better than wealth in different facets. One, he said, knowledge protects you and wealth exposes you. That was one. Number two, he said, with knowledge, the more you give, the more you exercise and give out, the more it becomes better. The more it widens. So mu ne xam-xam ëppee na wealth daraja, and bim si tudda mooy bii daf laa protect bale yaa ko protect bale mu ne knowledge mu ne noo see dépassoo muy gën di yokk waaye xam-xam noo see wealth noo see dépassoo muy gën di wàññe beneen bi moom hereafter la mu ne alal daf lay diisal sooy jéggi siraat waaye xam-xam daf lay oyofal, which need a bit of interpretation anyway. So Sirif, thank you very much for coming once again. Te yaa ngi nekk but ak déggi Gambian si yaa ngi put that platform pour ñu mun a gis dégga excellence, pour ñu mun a tam dégga bu nga xam ne moo ñuy dimbale ñu mun a shape suñ decision, more especially looking at how we amble towards the 2026 election. So maa ngi laa fay bu baax di nuyu Believe for National Transformation suma naataango yi di extend nuyoo tamit si tabax réew mi nga xam ne ni wax dëgg yàlla recently ñu ngi am collaboration mu nekk nit ku bugga réew mi perspective jubluwaay bi yëpp benn la. So ñu ngi nuyu Gambien yëpp fu waay mën a nekk rek Sirif dalal bu baax si kër gi.
Thank you very much for the courtesy and for the kind words. I know it's just reflecting your beauty of heart, because you cannot express beauty unless you are or in you is beauty. So for the courtesy. Yeah, so you've seen that you're too much passionate about saying that the system changed. So where do you get that passion from?
Yeah, Sirif, that's a very good question. That's a very touching question, because sometimes I used to tell my friends that this has nothing to do with being dream of being a politician or being dream of participating in politics. That has never been the dream.
Okay.
But we are people that always believe in the power of the mind. With the help of the mind, what can we change? What can be done? That is who I am. Okay. That is why in anywhere I am, I always want to employ my mind to make things better. That's the type of person I am, and I do this with a lot of love and a lot of ambition. In fact, a friend of mine says, do tell me, when you are interested in something, to change something, it's like things fall from nowhere, because I pay a lot of attention to it. I can even wait until 3 o'clock, everybody is sleeping, and I wake up and then try to meditate and structurally, have a grip of something. That is how passionate I am to use the mental energy, not only mine, but anybody that I interact with. That's why if I have a problem in my mind and I walk by it, I might even talk to the apprentice and he says something that to me is an answer to that question, because how I, work with my problems. So having that personality, and also taught for a long time, play with concepts, play with economic concepts, play with mathematical concepts, and having to grow from the hood with nothing. You are, so ndewe do any so anye do rare. Having that, exposure to difficulties, and also, having that bitter test of life. You grow, you engage in teaching, you are still trying to conceptualize things. Learning is in 3 phases. First of all, you get to see the things you can read and write, but then from there you need to internalize what you read and write. What does it mean? And then now, having to understand it, having to internalize, now you need to produce knowledge. Those are the 3 phases. So we've got a lot of concepts during our learning. Now we articulate it, we internalize it in the classroom for almost 15 years. Now, God being so kind, we had the opportunity to go to government and work. There we are now producing. This is what the concept says. So let me go to the markets and see if I can use these concepts and better the lives of Gambians. And what I mean by that, it's as a competition practitioner. I wouldn't say expert, as a competition practitioner. Then the concept was, okay, what justify my salary? It's the efficiency that you're able to bring into the market. How much price can you drop as a result of efficiently enforcing the competition law? So now it was like I was trying to understand, reading, gathering a lot of words in my mind. I had the opportunity to teach it, to articulate it, to internalize it. Now I have the opportunity to utilize it and produce something. So these are the three phases. So now after having undergone all this transition, we felt the need, okay, this country we are, they call the Gambia, fan la tollu. And then we begin to dig, and that gave us the passion to say, okay, if yenen deka yi ñu ngi developed, te development xel rek moko de indi, xel ak njub ak buga mbëggeel mom, it's the number one. That is why even the last time when we say patriotism, we said it's number one thing. Because pour nga muna am the space pour duga sa mind bi xalaat pour génne the facts, génne the logics for change, first of all nga am mbugeel bu wér, am cofeel bu wér si li ngay def. Te loolu it's something li nga xam ne you cannot build it overnight. It's something li nga xam ne it needs time. Nit ñi foog ñu dimbale la si, institution si foog ñu dimbale la si, school si foog ñu dimbale la si, sa waajur yi foog ñu dimbale la si, systems yi ñu build in place foog ñu dimbale la si pour nga mën a am that love of your country. So li tax daal ñu am that passion is because naturally by default ñun dañ nekk nit ku nga xam ne si ñun yàlla daf ñu bind pour ñu solve problems. So then yàlla su la bindee naturally pour ñu solve problem, yàlla nag dimbale la ba nga xam ne you went through the 3 stages of knowledge seeking. yaa ngi gis ilmul yaqin, aynul yaqin, haqqul yaqin. The knowledge of the hearing, the knowledge of the see, and the knowledge of the test. So experience. So léegi jaar nañ fii the knowledge of the hearing mooy jàng nañ wax nañ ñu ne lii mooy lii. Léegi knowledge of the see dem nañ si xale yi wan leen ne lii mooy lii pour fal leen ko. Léegi nag dem nañ ba si xayn haqqul yaqin, where we able to go to work in governments where we interact with the data and see how best. So now ñun gëm nañ ne war nañoo mun a utilize all that experience pour ñu participate into the li nga xam ne mooy shift Gambia jëlee ko si ndóol gi mu nekk ni yóbbu ko si something better.
Coming to what is currently trending, that is the NAWEC issue. I think on Friday there was a protest, and also on Friday you on Thursday you had a press conference with respect to the NAWEC issue. So the thing is, do you think that NAWEC as an institution has anything to solve this problem as we speak? Looking at the number one is debt, is deficits, and also the global crisis.
Yeah, I think there's always a way out of a problem.
Looking at NAWEC itself.
Yes. Wow. Because the way out of the problem is, you can look at it in 2 ways. One, what can we do even su fekkee ne doyut sax to better this situation? Nga loolu solution. And I think that's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to say, okay, lan lañ mun a def to ensure that ñu dimbale nit ñi si ñaaka energy. Okay? And so bàyyi xel suñ press conference bi kenn si ñun Mudu Mbay raise a red flag to that. Su fekkee ne yow you just want to solve a problem prompto, sooy caaxaan mun ngaa jël options yi nga xam ne dafa gën a yaaxa dan defar. Okay, so comme si sa question bi ni nga ko framé, I think there is a lot of wisdom, because it's important ñu mun a talk, assess, understand NAWEC situation bi mu nekk nii, what are the options yu ñu am ñoom NAWEC. Okay, I think gannaaw bu mu amee, okay, you have a problem and you want to get out of the problem. But right now dafa am constraints yi nga xam ne ñoo bring a bit of a challenge pour NAWEC mun a génne si lañ nekk. because comme noo ko waxee debt bank fa di la xaar at the moment Gambia si boppam ñu ngi run on a heavy deficit boobu mu ngi laa xaar at the same time debt boo amee is not in your dalasi but it's foreign te as we are speaking dalasi baa ngi get weaker ñaareel ba the transmission issue bi nga xam ne moo am si OMVG amaguñ any information ne it's solved completely so amuñ any evidence ne we can get 60 megawatts from Senegal coming and now that becomes also another challenge. So now the only quick fix now it's let's get another generator. Okay. Yes, nañ dem China rek ñu dëxati benn rek fay ñu teg ko si gaal yi within mu ñëw.
With your, with governments claiming that your deficit. In fact, this year, just the first quarter, you have a deficit of spending.
Yeah.
So how are you going to?
Sirif, if I would want Gambians to pay attention to the Yirowa development plan. Approximately, plan be put execute within 2023 by 2027. They need almost $3 billion. The cash at hand is around $7 million. $739 million. So leneen yëpp ñu ngi ko yaakaar si bor
wala si ñaan
okay so léegi then yow bi nga defee sa assessment from the order previous xam nga development plans si they are not nekkul ne dan on binding, all of them are binding depuis nag biñ starté si structural adjustment programme si ba tey bu si phase out rek sooy ñëw di independent foog nga link ko to the other one mënuloo because development du dee tëb rek ñëw foog nga connect ko to the realities yi fi jógee so xoolee this recovery focus is connected to the previous one. That's why boobu dafa saaf 2018 2023 bi started 2023 dem 2027 so bàyyi xel si 2020 because normally xel dafay jàpp ne ok that development plan lan moo tax mënuñoo implement on plan say so loolu soo ñëwee si this development plan nga war a address.
Yeah.
That's why da nga war a dem check sa SWOT analysis yi strengths and weaknesses yi nga seet sa pestle analysis yi still trying to assess lan moo tax bële successful ñoom ci seen boppa ñoom dañ wax ne debt is a problem
après ñu ngi
ñëw di pompaat more debt and that's the biggest contradiction fii yow xam nga ne debt is your problem. In fact development agenda bu bari boo jël teg ko comme ni ma la ko waxee yow defar nga a development plan nga ne you need 3.5 billion yow si sa boppa 700 million nga am what an ambition yow nga ne da nga bëgg a develop dëkk bi da nga need 3 billion pour develop dëkk bi yow si sa boppa 700 million nga amee yow léegi yow that's why ñun la ñoo wax as buñ defee research about the development plan dañ wax ne this plan is just based on hope. The financing strategy of the plan was hope.
Like maybe the development partnership didn't
know, but definitely not try. And I wouldn't say trying. And London yakar dafa fail because diaspora bonds lañ ko indi woon. ñu ne diaspora bi dinañ leen jaay ay bond. Remittance mu ngi yokk ci dëkk bi, but diaspora bi nekkuñ di invest de. They're not buying any bond from the government because bond is trust. Foog nga trust nit ki pour mun koo jël sa xaalis jox ko. So moo tax even the opposition ñi nga xam ne ñoo wane suñ ñëwee diaspora investment no diaspora bi duñ ñëw rek invest de because investment sa xaalis ngaa dugal da nga expect something in return. Balaa ngaa mun a invest foog nga trust the environment first. Ndax there is that predictability pour mun laa waaw ne di nga am returns. So moo tax diaspora bond indi woon nañ ko ne that was going to help finance. So xoolee sax buñ defee 3 billion bi some of the variables yuñ indi ne mooy justify financing bi one of it was diaspora bonds. So dafa nekk ne yaakaar nañ diaspora bond and they get nothing. Number 2 ñu ne ok xam nga dañ indi a capital market. Xam nga 2003 they launched a capital market. But the capital market building kese la waaye dara ne ko fa. There is no trade, there is no stick trading happening. So liñ yaakaaroon xalaat yuñ jëloon yëpp yaakaar ne loolu dinañ ko war a mun a utilize and also the wealth funds yëpp dara ñëwut si. So léegi ñu delluwaat si the old façon of financing. IMF jàppasi World Bank jàppasi African Development Bank jàppasi. So that's the form way the default zone. So buggee finance da nga am a good ambition. But now coming back to the NAWEC issue, they flagged in the development plan debt is a crisis. But when they come, they are now accumulating more debts and the servicing becomes more serious. You know, I will take this opportunity, Sirif, and say, when I said every Gambian is paying $450 per month, it's true. And somebody put in the comments, bro, guy, you collect halis bobu from you every day. When you buy water, you paying money, tax. That tax is going to government. You are contributing to paying the debt because that tax being dajale, what used to finance. The part of the finance, you know, 13.5 billion is kept from our money budget for servicing the debt. So yo, Sahalis Bobu is paying. No, government doesn't work that way. How they interact with government. You need to know
even your transport, everything, activity you are engaged in.
Road tax.
You are paying that.
Every literary nakala gas oil wala essence government mungfa add surcharges. So those surcharges, how is it? Apparently bi charge number $15 ma fay nga fay ñu dajale yeb dem jënd essence bobu ñu jël li ci actual li dem ci essence ñu jox li dess ñu jox ko government kon ñu ñep contribute nañ. So this is how when you buy sugar ki indi suukar gars yi charge nañ ko si port bi. Then kooku dafa add all the costs yow yaa ko fay.
In short,
so
like,
that percentage.
You find that most of these business activities, whether it's the public transport service or whether it is NAWEC, petroleum or whatever, the people must understand that they are the one paying the tax.
Sure.
They are the one consuming and they are the one buying. So it's like even companies, we are the one paying their profits, we are the one paying their salaries. We are the one doing everything, absolutely.
Anytime loxo duga si post, you are interacting with government. Lolu moy the simple definition. So demé si bitik bi dugal sa loxo si post génné xamal ne you are interacting with government.
Yaa fay.
Waaw so fayé pass interact nga ak government. So jëndé sukur interact nga ak government. So fayé kër interact nga ak rent because they are paying lempo.
Any financial transaction
bu nga xamné rek those are the terminal points yi nga xamné consumers yi ngay interact ak government. Fokk nit yi xam lolu.
Come back to NAWEC. What are the two options?
So légui options yi one benn bi dafa am a long term. Moy ñu seet naka la ñoo mëna flip back to green energy to see how best naka la ñoo put up the strategies because right now there's even a there was a project bi nga xamne it was already signed in 2018, not signed in 2018 but the initiation talks and agreements began in 2018. It was supposed to be signed in 2022 but that project still now because of lack of government efficiency in executing their tax on time, the political mindset of trying to, nañ xaar ba nga xam ne suñ taalee lampay rek time sànni karta jot. But yow mosuloo sóoraale ne lii dafa happen moo tax ñu ne yàlla ay ci potu buur. dangay ko deweer mu taw si kawam. That's it. So now that is one option to try and fast track that project. You understand? That could be a way out to try and fast track the project so that it gives us what the number of megawatts that it's supposed to give us. That is one way. Another thing is because there is this issue of the costs attached to the fossil fuel as a result of shift in the Russia, the impact of the America-Iran war. There is a big shift into the prices. So low time it disturb na len because if I can NAWEC, like we said, debt be mungfa. That is why right now to get out of the situation is tricky because whatever law def rek amna lu fa nekk lu nga xamne mu ko contradict. Right now luñ warona mëna def rek moy okay NAWEC amna enough xaalis so légui suñ doon spend ci $1 billion $1 million per month to buy heavy fuel légui dañoo yokka xaalis bi but to ensure that we have the same volume bi ndey jënda xam nga fi mu nekk ni essence bi su fekkee ne litre bi is let's say $180 that's the CIF price bi su yokkoo is $90 so su fekkoon ne yow benn 1 million boo daan jëndal li nga si daan am mënatuloo ko am That's the basic analysis. So legi, then NAWEC could have just picked from his coffers, add up, and then yoke of fuel, then they can run the generators. But also mind you, most of the generators, they have passed their lifespan. So busi taka, bena 1 week, somebody could repair. So still there's going to be power shortage. So as technically soko hole, I don't see any short time, because that is why even you promise like on the 19 didn't solve. Why on the 19 we didn't solve? Because li amut a short term solution. The only thing you can do is begin to correct the wrongs. Telolu, it has 2 windows to it. One of it, it's like, okay, operations when it comes to NAWEC. Can we go back to our generators? Can we ensure that there is a very active team? So pane, you make sure that you repair. Do we have that? That's operation. That is what NAWEC can control. But what NAWEC cannot control is they have debt and they have to pay those debts. Every month there are monies that they can gather. Is that money enough to finance all the operation? That is a constraint. Understand? People are not going to. In fact, right now, problem bisa moy, NAWEC is going to receive less money. Do you know that?
How?
Yow nyata cash power nga daan consume per week?
Yeah.
Dafa drop.
Almost 200. Now almost one slide.
That's what I'm saying. So legi NAWEC xaalis bu mu daan am. Xam nga moo tax ma ne la, this is why this crisis dafa doy waar. Because yaa ngi si biir crisis bi, but revenue is not coming. So pour nga génne si it's difficult. Because right now man mu daan jënd $1,000 per week, léegi damaa jënd 300 because hours yu ma ñaaka nekkuma di ko bon. So I'm not going to buy cash power.
Absolutely.
So léegi NAWEC su daan am 12 million, léegi dafa am less 8 wala 6 million.
This period have a lot of revenue losses.
Revenue losses, but pare, you need the money to recover, and at the same time revenue is not coming
to pay your debt.
So it's like that is why we have to ensure that we build a system, because system says fake amut, but system so amut you will have a linear approach to things, and when catastrophe comes, the effects are going to come in multiple ways.
The other side, one has to look at is, you're looking at government, the areas government have to pay to NAWEC is too much, and like people are not talking about pushing government to ensure that the area government has to pay to NAWEC is fulfilled. Okay, and that alone is a problem because according to the government budgets, each of these departments will be given electricity, but where is that money going to? These are questions that we should ask. Certain department, government department have to pay, but they don't pay. Why? These are fundamental questions that they should ask. Okay, the management of NAWEC too, looking at how efficient, how innovative are these people in ensuring we graduate from these old machines that are not efficient, and also you are using heavy fuel, very expensive, and also, of course, when that happens, you have to have the most expensive electricity bill, because you already said that we are the highest paid electricity bill in West Africa. Why? Because you are almost using the most the modern old fashioned,
and they consume a lot of generators, they consume a lot of
oil and a lot of energy, and for just the waste in distributing the electricity across is too much. So these are all factors that are in.
And when it comes to the budget, Sirif, I think you touch a very technical point. In the Gambia, every institution you have a vote controller. The vote controller, it's the one that is more or less the accountant of the institution. So they make their budgets and they channel it through their line ministries. It goes to the Minister of Finance, and they have their budgets and they go to the National Assembly and defend it. Okay. So technicalities before Nekamoy, I will give you this, and this is very sad, Sirif. Sometimes budget halis bin fade binda existed.
So it's just a figure.
Halis bin fade binda existed. Yakar lane project B guy dig nañ mako project B dina materialize, so dinañ fay halis bi. That yakar moy tanga def fa number. Deka bi liñ wara wax suñ ko waxé rek problème la fa am Sirif.
So that you mean the time they are drafting a budget to the assembly for approval, there's no call money.
No, halis dafa amut. Because so
it's kind of,
let me give it to you.
We are hoping to collect this money from GRE and from the Africa Development Bank and from IMF.
No, GRE sax dina collect mu indil la. Like GRE already 2025 budget bi xam nga boobu la ñoo use for 2026. The collection. So collection boobu noonu is like 32 million lañ collect as the tax. 32 million. 32 million boobu lañ collect waaye luñ defee budget bi buñ ko defee yëpp dañ soxla 52 billion. 32 billion lañ collect 27 billion lañ collect sorry and suuf yuñ jaay from the geology department suñ resources yuñ jaay loolu moo nekk 5 billion so ñu àgg ko si 27 mu 32 billion that's the loolu xaalis si dëkk bi xaalis boobu moom exist na you understand in technical terms exist na okay so now then from 32 billion to 52 billion li motali budget bi loolu moom yaakaar kese la World Bank wax nañu ne dinañu may 300 and something 70 or 90 million African Development Bank dig nañu so yëpp buñ ko dajalee it was going to be around 6 billion li ñu may yëpp all the guys yi participate so then there were also projects yi nga xam ne nii under the Ministry of Agriculture under Health under different departments those projects already endorsed nañ ko na last year or year before last so project bi mu ngi at phase number 3 so this amount of money war naa ñëw so xaalis yooyu dañ ko doon nokko si budget bi te loolu dem na ba 14.4 billion
mooy these grants and
waaw
su mutut den you go for that
America su toogee benn dee mu fudu rek mu ne I'm no more continuing this project in the Gambia dama ko dog gab bu rëy ngay am so xaalis yooyu is let's hope and pray it comes moo tax benn day I met with somebody and he was bragging no our deficit is 1% ma ne ko technically because ñun 32 lañ am lu ko yóbbu ba 50 it's the support so dañoo ñaan ne support boobu ñëw na because support boobu lu si manqué rek ëpp na 1%. this is dañu dee nax so léegi nag su fekkee ne tey li tax sama indi lii mooy su fekkee ne tey promise nga let's say Ministry of Defence ok yéen seen budget bi is 2 billion dalasi léegi that 2 billion doo leen ko jox once danga leen a jox par quota wala par month léegi yow li nga leen war a jox in the 6th month boobu amagul de mu ngi si xaalis bi ñu yaakaar understand nga xam nga ne technically yaa ngi gis because xaalis yi
in short to get it understood the budget they're drafting the money is not available yet not all of it let's say we can have partial okay this is the we have 50% we're left with another 50%. So within the other 50%, then we are hoping donors
will bring the money.
They promise us, and then likely we're going to have IMF and World Bank debt or African Development Bank. Okay, so these are reasons. At the end of the day, the government okay before we pay electricity to NAWEC, and NAWEC is our own, so we better prioritize other important things and ignore NAWEC. We are the ones subsidizing. NAWEC
because yaa ngi jàpp ne NAWEC sa boss la and that's the problem with that executive feeling ne institution yi maa leen moom that lu mu ñu nekkal that is why even the social security loan bu dem NAWEC there was no loan agreement nañ jël 118 millions rek from the people pension money rek dugal ko fa ko dañ jàpp ne affaire bi
benn la rek dugal
toog sa kër rek suma dépense bi suma repair bi suma pain bi yëpp su kër gi la ngay pick fale di def fale that's how they jàpp moo tax they cannot govern. They cannot govern.
That's why they have a point that sometimes government cannot do business. So therefore, we have to separate the business institutions from government because then you feel
conflict of interest.
Man, mom, so namati barek dugal fele. At the end of the day, this one will collapse, and then
this year, lañ leen jox 1 million.
Okay.
1 million lañ leen jox NAWEC. $1 million laa la wax de lañ jox NAWEC pour dimbale leen pour ñu mën a recover. That is budgeted for. ñun suñ budget bi li nga xam ne loolu lañ war a spend this year lan la moo si waat ñu siy jël 1 million di ko jox NAWEC te NAWEC ñu ngi liggéey xaalis man maa ngi fay NAWEC CASPO bi mayuñ ma ko at the same time xaalis bu ma contribuer muy dem si government bi pour ñu dundee ko ñu faa jël 1 million di ko jox NAWEC pour lan but sometimes then moo tax the institutions yi nga xam ne ñoo seq budget bi we need to question them the Ministry of Finance National Assembly because tey soo ma indilee loolu man as a member I kicked it out.
So
wala balaa nga ma wax ne balaa ma endorse that 1 million foog nga wax ma ne foog nga defal ma a risk assessment pour wan ma why that is why even if you go to the Public Finance Act it requests for certain institutions to get into any loan agreement, whether investment agreement. For loan agreement, I'm sure they have to do a risk assessment. So when the National Assembly members should start to request before they grant these unnecessary loans, whatever, or like budget support or whatever. Let them request for this risk assessment.
You find that most of this is not to discredit them, but most of them are there. They don't even know anything about economics. They don't know nothing. They rarely even read. So you are parliamentarians who are supposed to vet policies that are coming here and try to see which one is best, financial or economic policies. But at the end of the day,
but Sirif, man guma ne sax da nga wara nek economics pour nga nek naam. Guma ne sax da nga wara mëna read and write. But for nga wara mëna am a sober system be create a way of doing ba nga xamne National Assembly members didn't receive all the necessary information. They would not be disadvantaged. No, but you have committees. You have the technical committees there. You what la ñu mëna ñëw defal gaay breakdown. Understand nga? Because the National Assembly am na ñu fa wara nek ñu nga xamne dama ci world bi everywhere, dama Senegal, sen National Assembly da nga dem fekk fa ko xamne jangut. Understand nga? So and they are there.
But how do you think now when because
committees ñoo leen dee dimbale. Committees yi ñoo leen dee dimbale. Mooy the economic finance committee bi mun nañu ñëw if it is a finance bill ñu defal leen a breakdown ñi nga xam ne understand because for man ba mu ni da nga war a jàng economy pour nga gis the economic sense of money, economic sense of debt. Tey man su ma la doon explainer debt mun naa la ko explainer even soo jàngut nga understand ko. So we just need to have that.
Because you have that you have been thinking about it, you have been learning about it, you have been getting into the nitty-gritties of economy. So if I have not been getting into the nitty-gritty of economy, if I'm giving a paper just economy, how can I understand?
Yeah, that means their committees are not doing their job.
Good, but remember now, we are living in a reality now. What is the real situation that we speak? Because probably we have those committees that are not doing the work. So therefore, we have parliamentarians who are not really fit to be there.
You know even how bad it is. Sometimes su bill bo wara ñew sax ñi nga xamne ñoo technical dañ leen na create travel pour ñu tukki. So the voting bi du leen fa fekk. That's how bad it is.
That's crazy.
That's how bad. But lolu ñun ñëpp play nañ ci a part. Because tay dama day wone gox bu nekk ki fa joggé pour représenter la ci National Assembly bi. Su fekkee ne mënut yow waa gox boobu nga yow lan ban part nga ci play. Because tay da nga dem ci benn community bi nga xamne hejna ki nga xamne mo gëna jang mo gëna expose mo gëna am njub hejna sa is not the one selected. Why? Because mu nek politics dafa bon man duma bokk ci politics. So yow so participate ya fi sës moy taxa falu te fa sës rek ko la ñoo fal mu dem ci National Assembly na represent fa that becomes a problem. Motax man always if you do justice to the assessment if you do justice to the assessment
you go ahead.
If you do justice to the assessment if you do justice to the assessment mu ngi ñëw mën nga ko pick si biti if you do justice to the assessment di nga gis ne dañ lack that strategic thinking bu nga xam ne mooy mun a yombal doxalin bi ci players yi because tey suñ amee National Assembly speaker deputy speaker very very sober minds in the National Assembly war nañoo mën a xalaat a design bu nga xam ne suñ ko tegee no National Assembly member is going to be left behind in terms of having the necessary information to make a rational decision. Loolu war naa mën a am ni ma war a amee National Assembly noonu la war a mën a amee si réew mi ñi nga xam ne ñoo élif dëkk bi head of state lan moo tax cabinet ñu ne di cabinet ñu ne Barrow's administration because ñooñu dañ war a mun a extinct from the system ñu team ko position ko very well and keep observing it. Comme for example ni nga mun a play sa chess teg sa chess board bi ngay xool sa pieces yi waaye ma def nii because you have a game strategy. How do I open, how do I deal with the middle game, and how do I end to win? So that board foog nga xool ko foog nga xool dëkk bi like a board. Nga gis agriculture nga gis trade nga gis environment nga gis lii nga gis women nga gis youth nga seet naka ngaa mun a doxalee gars yi bañ mun a work together ben ñu ma am objective bi mooy the quality of life of Gambian improve.
Okay.
So loolu soo amul nag that team wala su head of state bi wala advisors yi wala di cabinet wala ñu ko siq su fekkee ne amuñ that wisdom pour ñu mun a plug pour ñu mun a design a system bu nga xam ne nii they will fix the puzzle well ba mun a make sense then state boobu noonu dafa am problem.
Okay.
moo tax soo ko defee into individual picks and analysis rek te gisuloo the greater thing yow da ngaa still argue ne nit bi mooy problème bi, but it's never the nit, it's the very design. It's the very design.
Okay, that is comprehensible. So the time is almost done. So what you are going to do now is give us the tangible solutions, short term, for NAWEC problem to be solved.
A short term solution.
Do you think
I think the short term solutions, it's for Gambians to conserve, to reduce the electricity consumption. I think that is the only short term solution. That is, if, for example, in my house, right now, everybody know it, in my house, I take off all my switches. I try to control the lights. I off the fans. Anytime it, even if I can feel I off the fans. And I wish every Gambian don't develop, then the demand for the watts is going to drop. Then now we can better serve. Benen Bimon, which I am aware, the government is trying to ensure that they get the machines, they repair the machines that are in, and also the OMVG guys, the technical team, also they are on top of their head to ensure that they can, you know, get back the supply to the Senegal, Guinea-Bissau, Conakry, and the Gambia. So these are things. Right now, the solution is Gambia is trying to communicate with Senegal to see, okay, Gambia is trying to ensure that, okay, experts are there to visit the sites and see how best they can help. Also, at the same time, you know, this project of 2022 being sign on, then post the higher election, fast track. So these are the things that they're doing. That is why when you promise on the 19th, technically it was not possible. So a very solution to this problem cannot be, you know, yes or no, like definitely problem. So it's not like you know, definitely solve, because this is like a problem.
There are some people who are, let's say Ghana itself is demanding 10 days solution. You think that's
not, it's practically not possible. And they I think whatever consequences that they put on the table in case this 10 days is not possible, I think that they can even start to implement it, because that 10 days, you know, and I think the last time by make a rational decision, this is an election year. If there was any way government could avoid this, they would have avoided it. If there's any button to press and this thing change, they would press it, because this is a disadvantage to them. But the very dafa melni ku nga xamne dafa febar, docteur bi ne ko da nga feebar, mu ne ko feebaruma, muy sooxaaleeg feebar bi agaan bi bañ léegi nag ñu ne kooku ne within 10 days da nga war a wér. Understand nga? So technically loolu mënta possible, because lii it's about machine su lifespan am jeexee, su la mu ne su fekkee ne 6 hours la laa taakal 6 hours ya dafa gëgëgëgëgaj. So loolu comme there is nothing you can do about that. The debts are there, we cannot pay it one day. Those debts are even accumulating. They are getting bigger and bigger. Every day we wake up and the dollar depreciates. The issue with the supply issue, in Gambia, Senegal is surviving it. Do you know that? Senegal, you can survive. And you know why Senegal is surviving it? Because then yaga prepare a day would come that the dam might not work. So yaga na improve Senegal yaga na prepare for these days. Guinea tamit the same thing. So ñun rek ñoy nek ak ñi nga xamne ñun whenever am nañ an outside supply, am nañ an reliable import buy ñew, ñun we never relax. But we have a very, very weak accountability in terms of, for example, tay li su nekkon ne tay a serious government, MD bi jogna. But kañ la MD bi di jog moy su fekkee ne MD bi mayon nga ko jaama mu liggéey ci nafsu ci bakanam. Ay su fekkee ne MD bi 90% of the time yaa ngi ko override di defal yow sa boppa. So est-ce que mun nga blame MDB? Moo tax léegoo-léeg da ngaa wax ne sa MDB mooy problème fekk du MDB, because gis nañ fi 2006 when the previous administration buñ doon, you know, transfer the ownership of NAWEC, then bypass MDB. So those are all things yi nga xam ne ni they are possible. So léegi I think there is no easy solution to this NAWEC of problem, because there are 1,000 things surrounding it.
That's your conclusion? My
conclusion is as Gambians, let us stop the emotional approach to things and let's start to think critically and, you know, act on bringing solutions that are that commensurate with what is possible. You know, that is why we always say, whenever there is an issue, your first memory acts, say, okay, this is it, but always allow that to calm down and wait for the second memory to come, because that one must be guided. That one will ask the question. In fact, NAWEC lan moo leen indi fi, NAWEC lan moo leen li. So ñun, we are of the view ne the protests are good because it's a form of deterrent to ensure ne you know, next time or other institutions that are in this position dinañ xam ne okay, gars yi dinañ jóg. But tamit jóg bi nga jóg tamit warta nekk rek dama jóg with protest, waaye protest bi should be guided by a strategy. Ba nga xam ne you know exactly lan moo tax ngay génna, soo génnee su loolu solfut lan ngay def, loolu after loolu lan ngay def. Foog ñu mun a master the game bu ñoo demee. Foog ñu amee good strategy. waaye man lu ma nekk di wax mooy the bigger call is 2026, it's here. Now it's a time bu nga xam ne Gambia yàlla dimbale nañu, we have a wave of new politicians, new minds that believe change. Yàlla def si ñoom gis-gis, am nañ the understanding of Gambia lan mooy problème bi, and the solutions are here. So let us bring hands together. Youth yëpp nañ dajaloo booloo, you know, seet naka la ñoo mun a, you know, belay that organized citizenry, which is very easy for the Gambia. The common resolve, we don't want independence within few days. Am nañ ko 2016 buñ buggee change through the ballot box within 32 days am nañ ko. So Gambia pour ñu mun a put up a force good enough pour change, loolu daf ñu yomba torop, because loolu baaxi réew mi la, that's our culture. So defee research about the Gambia pour ñu mun a click to a common gom-gom ak ñun ñëpp. ñun it does not, yeneen dëkk yi dina leen jël lu yàgg, waaye ñun Gambia loolu nekk suñ baax. Within few months mun nañoo connect to a benn reality ñu dem si. So ñu ngi oo ñëpp si this gis-gis of system integration, this gis-gis of the problem is not the leader but the architecture and the setup of things, and then su ko defee ñu mun a dem ci kanam. Sirif ñu ngi lay jaajëfal, ñu ngi lay beral lox, because yaa ngi def liggéey bu mucc ayib. Yal na yàlla jàppale la, yal na yàlla sàmm la, yal na yàlla sàmm bépp ndaw bu nga xam ne nii rek bëgg-bëggam si Gambia mooy you know, ñu mun a solve problème yi nga xam ne nii moom lañ jànkuwanteeg, te ñu am Gambia bu nga xam ne comme dina nekk Gambia biñ bugal suñ bopp, bugal ko suñuy doom, bugal ko suñuy sët. Jërëjëf Sirif.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's BASIROU NJIE, the president of BNT. And that's what we have for you today. Until we come next week on The Perspective, Breaking the Chains. I am Sirif Jaha. Thank you very much.